right, Belal Muhammad versus the champ, Leon Edwards. Now, right now, my partners at DraftKings have Leon Edwards as the favorite. They've always had him as the favorite. And this line has got closer. This line started at a negative 180, and now it goes down to a 150, and it moves a little bit towards negative 155. And I'm just wondering how we got to that conclusion. I mean, we should know who's going to win this fight. We should. Right? Because they've already fought. They've already done it. What do you remember? What do you make from that? Who gained more? Who felt who? Who got better there? Who was winning that fight? I'm asking you all of these questions because I watched it too, and I'm not totally clear. Like, for what action had happened, I thought that Leon was representing himself very well. I thought that Leon was fast, and I thought he was going. Now, I gotta tell you, I haven't gone back and rewatched it. I remember where I was. It was a main event. UFC show at the Apex. Wasn't a pay-per-view. People weren't super excited about it. There was a small, yet powerful, contingency towards Leon, thinking that he was getting the raw end of the deal. And by the way, COVID was very hard, but in the fight world, it was really hard on Leon. He couldn't get out. He was ranked number 3 in the world. Somehow he ends up matched up with this dude named Chimaev that nobody else wanted to fight. He ends up being an absolute team player. He does everything right, even if he's a little frustrated with it. He gets rewarded with the co-main event opposite the second biggest star in the business, Nate Diaz. It all started to end well, but it was because you guys got so loud and you guys got so vocal. And somewhere along the way, he ends up in there with Muhammad, who stops Leon's winning streak. And I just want to know what you remember about that. Because when DraftKings has this as a negative 180 for Leon, and then they move it to 150, and then they move it to 155, I'm wondering why. Didn't you see these guys fight? Don't we know who should win? And by the way, isn't there something to home field advantage? I mean, at least within odds makers, right? They got a formula and they compute the whole thing, but they generally will give a little bit of a nod to the guy that's fighting at home. So if Leon had everything stacked against him, not to mention COVID times and just everything that we were going through back when they fought, he gets over here, he gets to the Apex, he can make that walk. It would seem as though he's better now than he was then. It would seem. I've never seen Leon look better than when he fought Colby Covington. And I might even be able to narrow that down to minutes 20 through 25. I thought he really did look very sharp. And whether you guys like this or not, it was a compromised Colby. But either way, Leon was able to get him down. And we've always figured that was the knock on Leon, right? He's a British fighter. They don't know how to wrestle. Now, that expression comes from the fact that the Olympic Games, which is held every 4 years, Britain enters and contests many, many sports. They are really behind the Olympics. Not quite to our level, but they're really behind the Olympics, and they don't enter a wrestling team. So that is where that idea comes from. Here in America, we do something called folk style. You can wrestle in your high school, and you can get a scholarship to all sorts of a variety of colleges. Junior college, Division III, NAIA, Division II, Division I, right? So on and so forth. And it isn't like that in England. So therefore, we believe that these British guys can't wrestle. It's just a knock on them. And Leon shows this. Colby has another weapon that very few guys have, which is Colby will get you so tired that you quit. And Leon was able to hold up, right? I mean, I'm just being very fair that Leon, who Colby also made emotional, was able to slow down, be the last fighter to leave the dressing room that night, and he was able to retain his belt. So, if you guys agree with me, if you'll drink to that, why does DraftKings have this so close? What is it that they're seeing with Belal Muhammad? And see, that's where the whole question comes. Now, I do feel that one of Belal's greatest representations of himself was against Brady. And I believe that for a variety of reasons, and it wasn't just the hands that he let go, and it wasn't just the grappling that he stopped. It was what he was up against. This was a main event guy. This is a guy that many believe should be contesting for the world championship. And his card placement was lower. He was up against it, and he knew it. He knew it. It wasn't a good spot. He was being tested. Everybody goes through it. At some point in every champion's journey, there's one you can look back and you can point to and go, as much as he's the fair-haired child today, he wasn't. Right, and it's one of those situations, and this was Belal. So what is it that he gained that you guys are so impressed with? I'm asking you. I'm being very sincere. Why is it that DraftKings has this thing so close if we've already seen these guys fight and if it was favoring Leon? There is a component. There is. There's the Khabib component. Like, Belal Muhammad has done everything right, but he's also mixed up his training to a very large degree. And anytime there's a rematch, you're going to be asked a question, and you must answer it. Now, your answer can vary, but you must have an answer. You must have something that you sincerely believe in. What's going to be different this time? And so many times the fighter will not have an answer, but it's a big sign to you. You got to know, okay, this is about a paycheck, or this is a number that came up, or this isn't the one he was gunning for, this isn't the one he was planning for, he wasn't digging deep. If he doesn't have a very clear answer, and I'm not sharing for you that Belal went and found Khabib and sought different training, took his trip to Dagestan just for Leon. That was Belal in general looking to improve his skills. And you guys that sway the line are informing DraftKings that he did just that. And it's a very interesting concept because I don't feel that you've seen enough, quite frankly. I don't feel that you've seen Muhammad fight recent enough to decide that he's better and that his training with Khabib worked. One thing that will happen in our industry is it will all start at the grassroots, right? Every idea that ever makes it to the poster and the marquee started on the underground. It doesn't change. Before it made it to the underground, guys in the gym getting ready to work out, they're over in the corner, and they're putting their gloves on, and they're putting their and they're pulling their shit pants on, are having the conversation. That's where it all begins, and one of them has an account under an alias and posts that idea to the underground. And there appears to be a real nucleus and a real support that believes it's Belal Muhammad's time. There's no other way to explain the line at DraftKings, not to mention the moving from negative 180 down to 150 and sometimes up to 155. I mean, I'm bringing it to you. There's no other way to do that. And I don't contest it because I don't have the evidence. But I do have evidence that Leon is fighting at an all-time best, that he's fought more recently, that in theory he should be more sharp, that he's fighting at home, that he doesn't have the same pressures that he had the first time. But you guys aren't agreeing with me, and it doesn't matter if he's the favorite or not. The lines moved. And in many ways, even while being an underdog, if you study those lines, in many ways, they're favoring Belal Muhammad.